welcome back to our channel. So today's video is going to be a full Torchlight review. We've been using it now, we're in our 9th week. We did make some changes and I will be talking about that at the end. I started out with following it exactly how it was laid out, and if you guys haven't watched my last few update videos, I would suggest watching those to get a little more insight into what I changed and when and all of that. But now we've changed a little bit more and I will talk about that at the end, like I said. But yeah, for this video you can expect the pros, the cons, and just remember that it's subjective to each family, each homeschool family, and how they want to run their homeschool. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy this video. But before I start, don't forget to subscribe, like our videos, comment below. If you guys have used Torchlight, if you guys like it, how you guys use it, I've learned a lot from you guys in my comment section for sure. So yeah, leave it down below and let's get into the video. Okay, so I've been wanting to make this video for a while, and I just wanted to give it a little more time. I wanted to have at least, 8-ish weeks of us doing the Torchlight to finally get to a place where we weren't changing anything and I could give you guys my final review. So starting out with the pros, definitely the price, definitely the book list. The book list is great, and then also the layout. The layout is great. They put things per week for you, then they also break everything down per day, and they have so many extensions, so many supplements. It's great. It's great. The amount of care and time this curriculum took to put together is definitely appreciated for sure. So I really like the whole everything, the layout, the message, which is why I think I gravitated towards Torchlight. Everything is what it appears to be when you're looking on the website and you're going through the samples and you're looking at everything. So yeah, those were my favorite things about the Torchlight curriculum, is the book list, the price, and the layout of the curriculum. I would definitely recommend this curriculum. So let's get that out of the way. So speaking of the layout and how everything's laid out, I do really like it. Very informative, very easy to follow, all of that. But it was just a little too much for us, for our family. I don't know if it's the toddler or if it's just what, but I definitely feel like it's a little too much work every day and every week. I decided for us to just follow it exactly what it says and exactly what we're supposed to do and all of that, right? And I only lasted about 2 weeks and I was like, I can't, this is too much, I'm stressed, I can't do this. And also to give you a little more insight on why it didn't work for us is because we also school 4 days a week and the Torchlight is laid out for 5 days a week. So at first I tried to just push that 5th day into the next week because, like I said, I was trying to do everything as it was laid out, and I was trying to just push that 5th day into the next week, It started to become too much for me to keep track of. So that was the first thing that I noticed. It was just a little too much for me to keep track of, to move that 5th day every single week, and then I'd be like, wait, what week are we in? What day are we in? And then the second thing was sometimes we were doing too many days of one subject, in my opinion. Like we would do science every day, or we would do history every day, or we would do, music every day. My neighbor is walking outside. Why are you outside? It's hot. Don't look over here. She looked awkward. Okay. So yeah, I just started to feel like we were rushing things and that we weren't able to answer their questions and like kind of go off on whatever portion of the lesson they were interested in, because we still had to do this and do this and do that. We were just kind of checking boxes, So that was the second thing, that I just felt like it was just too much each day, each week. And the third thing that I had a little bit of trouble with was that sometimes it was just books and just resources and just reading, and I didn't know what else to do besides that, if that makes sense. So I would have to kind of look at it and be like, okay, well, they just want me to read these chapters, but what do I do? So I would have to figure out to do something else. My kids are definitely more like hands-on kids. They don't just like to sit there and listen to me read for very long. So also I ran into that with the literature. It was having us read like 3 chapters a day. Yeah, it was, I would say, around 3-4 chapters a day. Yeah, we definitely had some issues. It was a little stressful at first. So what we do now, so I plan 6 weeks at a time. So I'll look at each week and I'll say, okay, we want to focus on science this week. Science and music. And then next week we'll do history and poetry. And then the next week we'll do a little bit of science, a little bit of history, and no music, no poetry. You get it. So it was just deciding on which 2 to focus on, and then maybe sprinkle in a 3rd. So just depending on what was laid out for that week. Like if I had a full week, like if they had a full week of science, I was like, okay, so it's going to be a science week. So that doesn't mean I would do every science thing. I would just do like 2 or 3 days instead of 4 or 5, trying to fit 5 days into 2 or 3 days, if that makes sense. So I use it more now as a resource, which is funny because when I first started talking about Torchlight on my channel a few videos back, someone mentioned that. They were like, oh, you know, it's more of a, I use it more of a resource. And I thought, like, wow, like that's a great idea. Why am I feeling like I felt this pressure to do all of it, to, you know, I have to do it this way, I have to do it this day, I have to do all the days kind of thing. And I think the more we homeschool and the more we're in this, you know, community of homeschoolers, secular homeschoolers, unschoolers, deschoolers, like all this, I just see how it's so much better to have various resources available to your family. Choose what you want to do for those like 6 weeks, for example, for us for 6 weeks, and just focus on those things. And then the next 6 weeks, I'll choose a couple other things, and then we'll focus on that for those 6 weeks. So it was definitely a learning curve. I am so happy that we're in this place now on week 9. It's going great. I feel the least like stressed about school than I ever have. I'm not planning as much. I don't have as much pressure. Obviously now the kids are in 2nd and 3rd grade, so you know they can read, they can do basic math. A lot of those little, you know, tools that, you know, when they're younger, we're like, okay, they got to learn how to read. Oh, they got to learn how to add and subtract and all this stuff, you know. And it's like now, I don't know if that could be it too. I definitely feel like I'm seeing as well that school, and I feel like it also frees up time for the kids to cook with us, for us to help them with more life skills, with tidying up and, you know, just communicating, and when they're bickering or when we're arguing or when we're having like a rough time, to be able to be like, you know what, like we're just gonna chill today, you know, everyone, let's come together, let's eat some cookies and watch a movie and like relax. Because I feel like that was the big thing that I felt like we could never, like, I wouldn't say never, but I felt guilty when we would kind of chill and relax and not do school, you know. But I'm realizing, like, no, like they can make their own meals, they know how to tidy up, they're responsible, they're very mature for their age, you know, they're doing great in their extracurriculars. And, you know, at the end of the day, that's the goal, right? You know, and I don't want to force them to sit there and listen to me read stuff that like they are just like, you know, not interested in. So we actually sat down today and we talked about what they have enjoyed of school this year, what they want to do more of, what they're not really liking, and we kind of made a list, and I, you know, am gonna plan accordingly to kind of make school a little more enjoyable. So a couple more things on Torchlight. It is a digital curriculum. That's why it's very affordable. It also has a great book list. It includes every subject except for English, like grammar and English, like language arts, and math. So we do have something else that we use for that. We are also struggling a little bit with the literature, getting the literature done. And but yeah, so we're implementing the questions in the back. For the first book that we did, the Eat Grain, I didn't see the questions in the back for the literature stories until we were almost done with the book. So we've been doing it with Bayou Magic, and it's been working out way better. I just like to have something, like for them to do something with the reading that we're doing, and if it's just a picture or a little journal entry, something, because I feel like it will, you know, sink in a little bit better that way. But yeah, we don't always get to do that, but I do prefer it. So sometimes I just have to do that on my own because a lot of the stuff is just to read it and talk about it. So I do have to kind of come up with some activities to go with some of the things, mostly with the history and science. Unless it's like a science project, then obviously we're doing a project, but sometimes it's just, you know, some readings that we're doing, and I just kind of come up with it on my own. For example, the 2 Truths and a Lie, that's just to read it and then also to fill out the form and all that stuff. But honestly, we don't even fill out the form because it's super detailed, and sometimes it's just, I find it to be a little bit unnecessary. I just talk with the kids about it. I just kind of go through the little log, like figure out which story of the 3 is the lie. So what I've been doing is, in the book, they actually have sometimes questions and things. So sometimes when we do the 2 Truths and a Lie, I will just use that as our English for the day, or language arts. So for example, we had it was talking about a robot. One of the stories was about a robot, and then the book had a little prompt at the end of the story. It was the 3rd story, and it said like, oh, you know, if you could have your own robot, what would it do? What would it be made out of? Like, what would you want it to? Would it be battery powered? Would it be electrical? So I was like, oh, that's great. Like, I'll just do that. So we did that. I had the kids come up with their ideas. I wrote them on the board, and then they got to write them in their journal and then color and design like their robot and stuff. So it was really fun for them, and that was just something that was just from that book in particular, because like I said, a lot of the time there's not anything hands-on to do with some of the books and readings and such. So yeah, it's definitely something you can keep and use over and over. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed my thoughts on Torchlight Level 2, and I will see you guys in our next video. Bye!